Hi golfers, Nick here for Nick Taylor Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to talk about one of my students who struggled to break 100. Now, after 2 months of working together, she's now regularly breaking 100, personal best of 96, and that keeps coming down every week. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the changes we made that made her improve, and hopefully they'll help you guys out there play better golf. To the left, feet, knees turned out. That's going to give you that platform to kind of tilt. Okay, first up, let's talk about Emmy's first golf swing here. So there's already issues at setup. So as she sets up to the golf ball here, her feet and knees are turned inwards. This doesn't give her the right platform, and as you can see, she starts to lift her arms very high in the backswing. This leads to kind of a motion of coming over the top. And then to be fair, she kind of moved her body weight pretty well into the finish. So she had a good sequence of movements into the follow through, which is good, and that's kind of given her a good platform for her to improve. This is why we've made such good progress, right? She's already got things in her swing that she does really well. We just had to iron out these key things at setup and in the backswing. So the first thing we talked about was the feet and the knees. So when you set up, you should turn your feet and knees out and move your weight slightly to the left. So as you set up here, I'm moving my center of my hips and my shoulders to the left. That's already given me a platform there to kind of move the arms more inwards. Over the first couple of lessons, the first couple of things we worked on was the body sway and also the arms lifting. Okay, so we had various train aids we used. I held her head, but the key things that made the difference was really how she moved her hips and how she moved her arms. So we kind of did these two things together. Sometimes you have to work on a couple of things at a time to make a change. Sometimes it's not as simple as just one thing at a time. So the things that made a big difference here was how she obviously set up, and then how she moved her hips and her arms. So the key drill for her, Emmy here, was a very simple one. Just with a glove, placed it under her right arm, and that helped her keep her connection with her right arm in the backswing. And the instruction was to, as she moved her left shoulder down, tilt her hips, tilt her shoulders, keep this pressure under this arm. So this was kind of the first drill that we worked on that really kind of made a bit of a breakthrough in Emmy's swing. So if you set up, turn the feet, knees out, weight slightly to the left, glove under the arm, then as you go back, start to make some swings, try and keep the glove under that arm as best you can. You should be able to keep it there all the way back and all the way through. And then with the knees, try and feel like you flex the left knee forward and straighten the right. This is really key. This helps you tilt your shoulders and your hips in the backswing. This is a key move. As Emmy was originally turning back, she kind of turned her hips too level, the shoulders were a little bit too level, and the arms started to lift. So put the glove under the arm, weight to the left, and as you swing, keep the glove there, keep the weight forward, and move the weight forward into the finish, right? So this helps her kind of keep the club on plane, helps her compress the golf ball, get that low point in front, which is so key to hit consistent golf shots. So by setting up properly, moving the correct way, turning, tilting in the backswing, keeping the pressure point under the arm, now you're in kind of a good position here to move through into the finish. Now, some of the issues we had with Emmy in the finish was arms starting to bend and not quite moving her hips far enough forward in the downswing and into the finish. Because you had the weight more on the left, sometimes that makes it a little bit harder to keep moving forward. So we had to keep working on that. One of the issues we had was that at impact, her body weight wasn't far enough forward, even though it was better in the backswing. And that can sometimes lead to hitting slightly behind the ball and obviously inconsistent contact. So we had to really work on the follow through, and I thought this was a really good lesson where we kind of worked on a finish position. And I'm going to show you guys the swings here, but as we went through into the finish, the thought process was to kind of finish with the arms straight and move those hips forward as much as possible. So as you can see here, I'm extending backwards, and also as I go through, I'm tilting my shoulder. So we would practice, and I would hold her head, trying to get her the right feeling for this as you go through. So when you practice, sometimes it's good to kind of break this down, and this did a couple of things really. Kind of by feeling the swing stopping a bit shorter, it also helped her control her arms a little bit in the backswing, because over time, as Emmy was doing this, because she was keeping her weight more forward, tilting better, moving her arms more round, she was tending to almost overswing in the backswing, and that's very easy to do. If you're in the past, if you restrict your movements with your lower body, the way the knees are turned inwards, the way the hips turn, and the arms lifting, it's very easy to almost have to really overturn to get any power. So because she was moving better, she was still probably turning as much as she used to, but in this case now, she was actually doing that too much. Then into the finish by kind of stopping with the arm straight, really give her some good thought process for the hips as you move through. So in this lesson, we just tried to have smaller swings, stopping with the arms parallel. And it's amazing actually when you see her hit these shots, she didn't really lose any distance, which is crazy, right? I think sometimes you feel like you have to swing the club a lot longer in the backswing and the finish to hit the ball the best or the furthest. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, because if you can't make consistent contact, you're not really going to get the distance from the length of the swing that you have. So by keeping the club more shorter in the backswing, by not overturning, and then stopping in the finish here, this really tidied up the whole swing for Emmy. I think this is kind of, these key pieces put together really made a difference in her golf swing, and it made a huge difference to her shots on the course with her contact, her distance and her direction. So awesome job by Emmy. I'm really impressed with kind of her work ethic, dedication she's had to change in her swing, because this wasn't easy, right? You saw where she started at day one with her setup and the arms lifting. She's kind of used to that. Even though she had some good movements in there, it was kind of working sometimes, but it's never really consistent. So to get to where we did, she's had to work really hard. So really impressed now. Key things to take from today's video, guys, is how important the setup is. If you don't set up right, it does make everything else a lot harder. So make sure when you set up, your weight's to the left, feet, knees turned out. That's going to give you that platform to kind of tilt and turn in the backswing in the right way. And also when you practice, sometimes just focusing on the technique, maybe not going for power, you'll be surprised actually how fast you can swing the club and how much more consistent you hit the golf ball. So thanks for watching, golfers. If you've got any comments on that, post them in the box below. If you don't already, please follow me on my other social media platforms, and I'll see you again next week for another video.